Good morning everyone and welcome back to Mimi's Home and Garden. Today I'm going to share with you how I preserved my spring onion harvest. I planted these back in February and they've been through a hailstorm and pretty beat down. I've got them planted here between some tomatoes that are now towering them, so I thought it was a good time to go ahead and pull those up and make room for some more seeds in the garden. And I got about 6 pounds of spring onions from that one little row that I planted back in February. So the first step I did was to remove the long onion stalks. They were pretty damaged in the hail and they've got some spots on them, and so I wanted to just trim that off, and I'm going to put that in the compost pile. So I went through that whole batch and trimmed those long pieces off. Then I'm going to get those ready for dehydrating. Spring onions are great dehydrated because then during the winter months when you make all those soups and stews, you can just toss them in to your pot and they really add some great flavor. I have an Excalibur dehydrator. If you don't have one, I highly recommend that brand because it works so well. And my dehydrator during these few weeks has been running non-stop. I keep it going because I'm trying to preserve as much food as I possibly can. So after I got all of these bad looking stem pieces cut off, I took it over to the sink and I'm giving it a good wash, and then I'm going to go work on the root end of the spring onion that has the little roots and the dirt at the bottom. So I'm just pulling off some of the outer dead leaves and going to wash off that dirt and then snip that end. So I did this process for the whole bucket of spring onions, got them nice and clean and ready to dehydrate. I love fresh spring onions though. I toss these into some sauteed zucchini and squash. It is so good, but you can't keep these long in the refrigerator, so I thought I should go ahead and dehydrate these so I'll have them for the months ahead. So it's a very simple process, a little time consuming, but that's fine. And now you can see the beauty of the spring onions, how nice and clean they are. And now I'm going to take a pair of kitchen scissors and just sit down. There's my Excalibur dehydrator. That's the 9-tray one. And I'm going to sit down and just snip off. This is the easiest way that I found to do the spring onions. If you use a knife, it's a little harder. The onion kind of crushes in your hands. But just take a pair of kitchen scissors and just cut about a 1/4 inch slice. And I did separate these where I had a tray of white spring onions and then a tray of the green leaves. So I went through that whole process of cutting up the spring onions into a white and a green tray, and I'm going to dehydrate those. Then I'm going to put them into separate jars. Instead of mixing them all together, the white onion part's a little stronger, so I could use that for soups. And so that's how I divided these up. So that was a process. I put on my favorite YouTube channels and sat and cut up and watched videos. You know, growing up, my family always had a big garden, and we would spend all summer getting these vegetables put up in the freezer, canned. We did not have a dehydrator, but we did a lot of canning and a lot of putting in the freezer. So I grew up that way. I know that's rare now that most people just go to the grocery store, but as you know, food prices are going through the roof right now. I was recently in Food Line where every aisle was filled with workers who were taking those sticker labels off and putting on new ones, and all I could think of was they're raising the prices. So I'm working very hard this summer to put up as much food as I possibly can, so that this winter and fall we'll have plenty to eat and won't be so dependent on the grocery store. I would highly encourage you, If you can, get you a dehydrator. They have all different sizes, all different prices, and go ahead and start putting up food this summer while it's available. So I dehydrated this at 125 degrees for 12 hours, just ran it all night long. The onions do shrink way down, but I was able to get all of those onions into 2 jars, one with the white and one with the green. So I've got plenty of spring onions to get me through the fall and winter. So stay tuned with me. I've got so much going on. I've been making pickles. I'm getting cucumbers daily, bowlfuls of cucumbers. So I've been making chow chow relish. I don't grow corn, but I did go get a couple of bushels from my local farm stand, and I have put corn in the freezer, so I've got a video on that, an easy way to get it off the cob and put it in the freezer. I don't care much for canned corn. I did do that last year, but I don't like the taste of it. You lose a lot of that sweet taste when you pressure can, so I'm just going to freeze this year any corn. So I've got a video coming up on that. And I had a large amount of cured sweet potatoes in my pantry, a big bag full of them that I got last fall. And I needed to make more room in my pantry, so I've got a video coming on that of how I dehydrated the sweet potatoes. I had about a bushel of these sweet potatoes that were cured last fall, so I went ahead and boiled those up, and I've got a video coming on how I dehydrated these. There's some chow chow. I've made 18 pints of that with all my vegetables that are coming in. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching. If you are putting up food, please leave me a comment below. Have a very blessed day.